Well, you are live. Let's see here. All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Hold on real quick. I'm bad at a lot of this stuff, so technology is really not my thing, even though I was pretty computer savvy back in the day. So no one ask. It's just who I am now these days. All right, now here we go again. False freaking shepherd. I don't kind of like this because people think I'm batshit crazy, but I do go on here and talk about things. There's a lot of context and a lot of content going around right now. I heard Schwarzenegger's speech. Cool. The whole everybody's still posting dank ass memes about the left and about that wasn't right what they did about attacking the Capitol building. It's spelled differently too. And anyways, so yeah, it's just so what I wanted to do today was just address two issues. I'm gonna keep it really simple. I'm a firm believer that as American citizens, as Americans, being rebellious is in our freaking blood. It's been since the dawn of this country was even thought of, was the rebellion against the freaking crown. And just amazing in just how people forget history. And history is the most important thing. Like I think Arnold Schwarzenegger forgot his own family history when he decided to talk about Kristallnacht. And I'm not gonna go into bad what Kristallnacht is, because I'm a firm believer Americans need to learn different languages and need to learn what things are called. So I would do you a disjust by telling you it's not the broken glass, but to me it's Kristallnacht, and it was in Deutschland. So, and that was been I think the 9th and 10th of November when this happened, but that's down the road. So that's the two topics we'll talk about. And if somebody wants to jump on Instagram and argue with me after I'm done with this, that'd be pretty cool too. So check it out. So history always repeats itself, and I'm a very firm believer in that. If you want to look at what's going to happen in the future, you look at what's going to happen in history and what has happened in history. So people are still freaking out that how dare they attack the Capitol building, how dare they put their feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk and steal stuff and damage stuff. And I believe one officer was killed. My heart goes out to that family. Stuff like that. So how dare they do that to our holy shrine of the Capitol building? And then the people like me, I don't fucking care. To me, it was a pretty cool seeing what they did. And people will disagree with me, and this is not what this country's about. And yeah, it kind of is. This country's based on revolution. Hence, the 7 reasons why we went to the American Revolution kicked off. And I will go down freaking numerically. Sorry, I've not been drinking. I stopped drinking. To everyone, there's actually 7 different reasons. The first one was the Stamp Tax, the Stamp Act of March of 1765, from what I believe. That was when the Stamp Act went into place. The Stamp Act went into place because the crown could not pay for, went broke paying for the war against freaking France and Britain. So the British thought it was a good idea. So piece of paper and stamp tax 1 penny. That's how that worked. And Americans didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. And that started to set a lot of the bad moods in what was going on. So that was one of them. Number 2, the Townshend Acts of June and July of 1767, I think. And that was basically they were taxing goods from Britain. So in order to get more under the United States skin, the colonist skin, they wanted to tax the shit out of everything coming from Great Britain to the States. So they did that. That was not a good idea because Americans being Americans and being rebellious, they started to do things, and they started to freaking act to the British doing these things, and it all circled around Boston, New England, which is an awesome. The only city I ever live in will be Boston. I can't stand any other city. Los Angeles sucks ass. Frisco sucks. Every city in America sucks ass. But I love fucking Boston. My heart goes out to the freaking people of Boston. Goddamn good city, and I hate the city. Anywho, so that was the third thing that happened, was a Boston massacre. That's when, sad to say, the British soldiers were testing the freaking the colonists. Sorry, not Americans yet. The colonists responded. There were, I think, 3 people were killed. An African American sailor was killed. A black dude, man. It was a sailor. He was killed. I think his name was Crispus, something like that. He was killed, and he was gunned down by the British. and that started a whole. And another thing too, never say African Americans or blacks, and they're not a part of American history. They have been a part of American history since this country freaking took a breath of air. And this was one of the events where a black person was killed by the crown. So that started that whole thing. And then the good old Boston people, the people of New England didn't like that at all. So they retaliated yet again because taxation and everything. And they started to do what's called the Boston Tea Party. Dressed up as Native Americans, went out there, started tossing tea over the side of the fucking goddamn boats, and that started a whole chain reaction. And it goes to show you the rebellions of Americans by nature. So up until these points, you have 4 of these points that happened to the colonists, and they rebelled. They rebelled every single time the Crown would try to do something. The Crown put the freaking Stamp Act. That was a no-go. They did the freaking Townsend Acts. That was a no-go. Taxing goods from Great Britain. So then they made the colonists. They had to rely on their own self and their own freaking hands to get shit done for freaking what they need. The Boston Massacre too. That was one of them too. And then so you're back onto the Tea Party. So after this, there was a whole. You're talking about revolution, and from 1765 to 1773, Americans started to think, hey, I don't want any part of this anymore. I want to be freaking, sovereign nation. I want to be your own nation. So this started this whole snowball effect, and then I believe somebody helped me. The Cochrane Act of March to June. That was a really big act, and that was yet again just taxation against the colonists. Then you had Lexington and Concord, the shot heard around the world. That triggered an armed revolution. And that was the April of 1775. So now you're getting into the hardcoreness of of war. Now you went from a simple rebellion. I say simple rebellion, but a rebellion of taxation. You go from American colonists not wanting to play along with the crown. They felt a certain way. Why taxation without representation? And they wanted to give birth to a free nation. Now, this is the weird thing about the Revolutionary War. A lot of Americans weren't for it. It's estimated about 3% of the American colonists were actually were involved in the overtaking and the freedom of our nation. A lot of them stood aside and stood on the sidelines and didn't want to get involved. Some were freaking loyalists to the crown. So that right there is a whole different thing that you put in perspective of how Americans were then. Americans are kind of weird, man. We kind of play a blind eye. Just like even now, it's so polarized. You have left and right. And the left says certain things. It's pretty funny. I love the left because they're honestly the easiest to criticize because they make no sense. Good hearts. I give it the left. They got good hearts. They got good intentions. Yeah, but it's not going to work. Good intentions are not going to work. You have to freaking actually use what's between your ears and try to figure things out and know how things are going to work and set policy and do something about it, not just have good intentions. I'm not going to send you positive vibes and be like, you'll be all right. To me, that's what the left does. And they are the people. They are funny, man. They don't like to throw their own stones in a glass house, and they're always throwing stones in a glass house because they're all pissed off about what happened at the Capitol, but they don't talk about what those rioters and BLM and everybody that was involved burning down businesses and just implementing chaos. But if it goes against their big daddy, the government, which they love so much, then they have a problem. So that's just idiocracy at its best. So that's why I like to pick on the left. It's too easy. Okay, and then the seventh thing was the British. The British attacked. I believe they blockaded Boston, so a lot of stuff couldn't come in and out. And that was just the revolution was in full swing of things. The 27 grievances of the Declaration of Independence. Every American should read those. I keep pushing that issue because it's a really good read. You should read why the colonists stopped a certain way and why they wanted to be freaking set free. So you fast forward to now, and you fast forward to history repeats itself, and you're talking about America. I hear all this democracy. We're not a democracy. We are technically a republic. If you actually look and see how this country's set up, it's a republic. Even though, honestly, now it's like kings and queens are involved. You're talking Joe Biden's he's going to become president. That guy's been in office for 48 years. The guy was vice president. So you're having these certain people rule us, basically like kings and queens. Kamala Harris, a senator. You don't have anybody, a lawyer. a lawyer that put away a lot of people and knows the law pretty well, but when she goes into a freaking to criticize young individuals about the law, she forgets her mind. I love that. I love seeing freaking Senate hearings because these people, a lot of the senators that are in office currently now are actually lawyers, and they know how the law works, but they pretend to play stupid because the American people are fucking stupid. Don't know how the law works, which is true. They're dumbing down in society. It's your responsibility. I know people have a 9 to 5 job and they don't have the time to freaking to invest into freaking learning about their government, learning about the law, learning about that's just a fucking excuse. You if you want to make things happen, you make it happen. So that's one of my other pet peeves of society nowadays. Everybody's tired. Everybody's got going things on. COVID's fucked everything up, but no one wants to freaking take the time and learn the law and learn what's out there and learn what their rights are. Like talking to police officers when you shouldn't be talking to them, granting people access to your property, stuff like that. There's laws here in place to protect you, not the government. Remember that. The Constitution is to protect you from the government. And it's just like people are willingly giving their power, their sovereignty to the government. And that's what I say. That's why I pick on the left, because you think that more government is going to freaking solve your problems, your problems with our country, problems. It's funny. It's hilarious to me that they talk about the unjust of colored people in this country, but they're okay with their presidents and they're okay with everybody bombing the shit out of freaking minorities, Muslim people overseas, and they're okay with it. For 19 years, we've been dropping bombs on freaking Afghanistan, but since the Obama administration was the last time of real hardcore combat operations in Afghanistan. So why are we there? You look at Iraq, you look at Syria, you look at Libya, the ousting of Gaddafi. It's a broken record, to be honest. I just love how the left decides that when the right does it, it's bad and it's really horrible. But they're more worried about stuff at home. But they're really okay with the continuing and the funding of the freaking war machine. They don't even bat an eye. It's really sad that you say how you care about minorities and these people's lives. That Islamophobe. They put. I love how you put a phobe behind anything. Wallet phobe, water phobic. And it's a word now, but whatever. So it's just amazing just to see that it's a double standard. It's really, if you don't talk about their big daddy government and their government's killing people overseas, it's cool because it's abroad, it's not over here. You don't see it. But when they're killing African Americans and Hispanic people, then they have a problem. What about all those Muslim kids that were starved to death in Yemen by the Obama administration? Gaddafi, what about Afghanistan? See, it's just the brutal circle goes on and on and on and on and on. But they don't bat an eye to that. So that was my thing in the take of just how people don't know what liberty is and what freedom is. And honestly, I don't think Americans deserve it anymore. As I see everybody's posts and stuff like that on the Instagram and on social media, I'm just like, you know what? And as people were supporting the idea of censoring Trump, I understand. Okay, look, I know the fucking law, so don't come at me that it's not freedom of speech. Technically, it's not freedom of speech. It's privately owned. Instagram, Facebook, and all these things, YouTube are privately owned. So therefore, the owners of these companies can decide what they can, what they can do. So I play these two games, devil's advocate. So the left always cries about gun rights and gun rights and gun rights. That you're only supposed to have a musket. Well, yeah, the Constitution hasn't cut up with technology. You're talking about the tech industry. The tech industry is basically, to me, it's just bullying. If you want, my biggest hate and discontent is when people, it shows how uneducated people really are. And it's the most easiest thing. It's the most easiest white elephant to pick in the room. The Nazis, everything. And people don't know shit about the Nazis. Trust me. I was a weird kid. High school didn't teach me shit. I learned computers, everything I learned from reading, like my stepdad taught me, old man Jeff taught me, and picking up stuff. Reading. School, what is like a weekend about Germany, about Deutschland, of the whole Nazi thing, and that's it. Everybody likes to quote and to compare to the Nazis. They always do that shit. It's like your go-to. Like if you can't win an argument, talk about the Nazis. It's really what Arnold Schwarzenegger did today. And I can't wait to talk about him because, hey, icebreaker. His dad was a Nazi. He actually was part of the party from 1938 and was in the Wehrmacht. And he actually held the rank of, God, my German, Optaviva, which is a master sergeant in the freaking military police. And he fought actually in Stalingrad and he was wounded, and he received the Knight's Cross with an oak leaf, which, if you don't know what that means, look it up. It's like a Medal of Honor. His dad was a pretty well-connected person of the party, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So it's just the quickest way for somebody to say Nazis, Nazis, Nazis. Everybody forgets about the good old Stalin. You forget about the Mao. You forget about freaking all these other tyrants that starved their own people to death, like 50 million people. But who bats an eye? You know, no one talks about that. No one talks about what the Japanese did to the Chinese and all the horrible experiments and everything they did, which no one really talks. It's always about the Nazis. It's your most go-to people, because people are stupid and don't know the steps that it took, that Nazi, how the whole belief of Nazism fell into place and how it worked. So I argue it. I love it. I love hearing people, oh, he's a Nazi. You know, Trump's a Nazi. No, he's not a Nazi. You don't know what fascism is. And the Germans did not make fascism. A little freaking skinny at the time socialist out of freaking Italy made fascismo. And Dulce, Mr. freaking, do I have to tell you guys? You guys should know this shit. This is simple shit that people should know. If you want to know what real fascism is. And then the Germans, of course, want to go blow and suck his dick. And they're like, oh, this is totalitarian. I'm the only one in power. And they ran with it. So it's just funny how everything's Nazi related, or everybody's a Nazi. Trump's not no Nazi. You guys don't know what a Nazi is. Trump's a fucking idiot, but he's not a Nazi. He's not here to freaking... It's just basic fucking history. Thank you, Mbakwan. Basic history. How do people not know this? So let's talk about my boy Arnold Schwarzenegger. Man, I was disappointed. I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 82. I'm an old motherfucker. And I was pretty cool having my stepdad. Loved Jeff to death. You know what? The only time him and my old man ever bonded was when he was yelling at me, or him and I were watching freaking Van Damme movies, Steven Seagal, the ponytail, doing that thing, all that stuff. Arnold Schwarzenegger. And, you know, I respected the man, and I still do, honestly, man. I just think that he's... So he's basically said the storming of the Capitol was like Kristallnacht in 1938. How was it Kristallnacht? Do you know what Kristallnacht is? Let me break it down to you. Kristallnacht. Kristallnacht, 7,000 Jewish buildings were burned. Businesses were burned. Freaking 30,000 freaking Jewish men were arrested and incarcerated by the Nazis, by... let me guess, Arnold Schwarzenegger's dad's party. Those are the people that freaking... That's Kristallnacht. Kristallnacht went around. They terrorized Jewish people from November 9th to November 10th. They went around breaking things, harassing, murdering. Probably they murdered 91. Believe the Jewish men, like, brutally murdered them. What does that sound like to you? Attacking businesses. Oh, and the government did it. The government was the one that instigated. And then you're going to say Trump instigated with his tweets that attack the Capitol building. I'm looking for those tweets that, hey, just directly attack the Capitol building. I don't see no tweets. Unless you can tell me where it's at, then fucking tell me. If not, I don't know what you guys are talking about, you know? So you go about Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was like Kristallnacht. He was like, remind me of it. He was in Austria. Okay, moving on. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's dad. So he was basically a member of the freaking the Nazi Party in 1938. He actually applied as member of the NASDAQ and the SA. NASDAQ, yeah. He actually was a part of the National Socialist Party, dude. And that came on the 1st of March, 1938, 11 days before the country was annexed. Austria became part of Nazi Germany, of the Reich. They became a part of. So, you know, he did his thing. You know, he was a police officer at first, so he jumped into the Nazi Party in the Wehrmacht. He was a master sergeant. He fought in Stalingrad in the Eastern Front. He was a military police. He was wounded. He received, you know, he was a pretty well-decorated freaking Nazi, to be honest. He did he was part of, I think, Panzer Group 4. If you don't know what a Panzer Group is, you need to know what a history. You guys need to read, man. School is there to babysit you, not to teach you guys what real shit goes down and real knowledge about the stuff. Anyway, so that's what's his father. It was really hearing weird shit. Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, he brought up the immigrant thing, that he's an immigrant. And yeah, I love immigrants. I love illegal immigrants. I love immigrants because they made this country, and the backs of them make this country. And then no one ever, you know, it's just idiocracy to say that they don't help. Yeah, they come here, they work their ass off, and then the government fucking takes their money from them, and they don't get anything for freaking Social Security until they actually really apply and get their papers, and $5,000 down the road, get their papers fixed and everything. Now become a citizen. They work for 10 years, they don't get that money back. U.S. government pockets that money, then that U.S. government borrows against Social Security, so forth and so on. And it's just hilarious hearing Arnold Schwarzenegger talk. These people are so freaking so adamant about keeping government safe. Why do you want to keep government? This is literally everybody's oppressor. This is the person that's freaking giving you tickets for freaking dumb shit. This is the person freaking charging. There's a person charging me taxes on my home that I think I own. I'm never going to own my home, because guess what? If I don't pay my taxes, the government comes down and takes it away from me. You're protecting these ideas. You have a Congress that doesn't read laws, but they pass them. They pass them like good old AOC for emotional reasons. AOC even posted, we don't have time to read this, but she fucking voted for it. Where Rand Paul did not do that. You didn't vote for it. Said no, fuck no, double dog. No, we're not doing that. So this is insanity. This is insanity. This is just insanity. Seeing how people are protecting this, and then when people get offended, like, you know what? I'm a liberal. I respect these. If you don't like it, don't follow me. Are you a little kid? Like, the best thing in life is to have disagreements with people, is to learn from people. People will have different beliefs than you, and then you will grow as a human being. If you get out of your comfort zone and listen to them and be like, you know what? I see what you're saying, but this is why I disagree. Or, that's a good damn fucking point. I'm going to start freaking, tell me more. No, people are so headstrong on what they believe in and everything. It's funny being not a conservative, not being a liberal. I'm kind of going towards anarchy now. Kind of going, because libertarianism is awesome, but no one listens to libertarians. I think we're fucking batshit crazy because we don't believe in taxes. We need everybody to bring in money for the state. The state needs money. The state needs money. The state needs money. Look what the state's done. Look what the state has done for the sake of you. What have they done? You have literally put money in for us to go kill people. You are literally paying for us to starve children to death. You're literally paying for the U.S. to do its imperialistic ideas overseas, because after World War II, we had to be a world power, and we had to protect our interest at the cost of what? I'm a firm believer we left the gold standard, because not all the gold in the world can satisfy the America's freaking thirst for freaking blood and for freaking power. It can't. Not all the gold in the world, and that's why I think that the government got off the gold standard. Yeah, the government's the biggest mafia. At least with the mafia, I feel like at least with the Italian Russian mafia, I feel like my money's going somewhere more positive than the government. To be honest, it really is. So it's ridiculous in just how Arnold Schwarzenegger, people that were in power in government, are protecting government and are contrasting 7,000 freaking Jewish freaking owned businesses being destroyed to a bunch of dumb rednecks coming in. I shouldn't say rednecks, racist. A bunch of dumbass freaking I'm a hillbilly, so I take offense to that too. I mean, a bunch of dumbasses freaking storming the freaking Capitol building and destroying it, not really destroying it, to Kristallnacht, to the Night of the Broken Glass, to one of the most cruelest, horriblest things any government has done to any human beings. You're comparing the two. You are literally comparing that shit. That's fucking horrible. Who the fuck do you think you are? Your goddamn dad was a fucking Nazi. He was literally part of the fucking party. And no one, oh, he's cool. He was right, man. Fucking Trump's the biggest. He's divided this. The division in this country's been around since before Trump. It's been going, and it's going strong. And the media is helping divide that. When you have people post things on their Instagram, well, if you don't like my views, we're not friends. That's some fucking kid shit. What is this, fucking kindergarten? Can I please play with the little fucking Barbie fucking car, because I got my fucking He-Man doll and I have no transportation. But we're gonna argue about that. You're not gonna let me play with it because I like He-Man and you like Barbie. It's the most dumbest shit ever. We're grown. This is why I have no faith in humanity. We're adults. No one talks about shit. You can disagree with me all you want, and I'll fucking still love you. I will still. You know what? I'm the biggest fucking hypocrite, but hey, man, if you personally know me, I'll be there for you guys. I'll be there. I'll ensure that if I can help you, I'm gonna fucking help you. I will always help people, man. Even if I disagree with you, that's how it should be. Because you know what? That right there, the reason why I do shit like that is because then there's really no excuse to me ruled over by somebody. There's no excuse for somebody to watch over me to make sure I'm a decent fucking human being. It's because of me. And that's why I hate about people. People want government because they can't be decent. People want to be taken care of, and they want this entity to look out for them. It's ridiculous. We're fucking grown-ups. Don't be a fucking dick. Don't go around being in race. You're never gonna get rid of racism. You are never, because racism to me is the most unintelligent thing ever. When you look at somebody, and oh, this is racism, so I fucking hate everybody. I can give you a reason why I hate every single human being. But the point is, you can't have those biases. You're only hurting yourself. If you don't experience and come out of your fucking shell as a human being, how are you going to know things? How are you going to see things? How are you going to freaking acknowledge things? You are not. You're not. You're always in your comfort zone. You know, anarchy. When anarchy cannot survive, yeah. Anarchy would only work if people fucking had responsibility and wouldn't do dumb shit, wouldn't murder anybody, wouldn't rob anybody, would just leave me alone. I'll leave you alone. I'm gonna go get in my little car. I'm gonna go drive and get some eggs. I'm not gonna drive like a fucking maniac going 110 miles an hour. I'm not gonna run a red light. I'm not gonna do. That's how anarchy would work, but it will never work. People need government. Americans need government. Americans are stupid. They are so fucking stupid. They don't realize we're eating shit. We're eating shit every fucking day, and people are okay with it. You're eating shit from the media. You're eating shit from online. You're eating shit all the time, and no one tries to not eat the shit. Like, go dig deeper. What are people telling you? Why did freaking Arnold compare the capital to freaking Crystal Knock? Because that's the simplest way people can understand the contrast. Okay, so Nazi bad, Nazi Trump, Nazi bad, Nazi bad. No fucking shit, Nazis are bad. But then again, you're gonna ruin the whole fucking why they're bad, because you're gonna say it so many fucking times. You said the word fascist, it's lost terrorist. When someone calls somebody a terrorist, I'm like, cool. That word lost its meaning. What is a terrorist? What is a terrorist? What is a terrorist to anybody anymore? It's just a word gets thrown out there. It's a word that let America go and us go around, kill thousands of innocent people, you know, because they're terrorists, because they attacked us and they're a threat to us. That's how when you say domestic terrorist. Domestic terrorist. So the founding fathers are domestic terrorists by definition about what's being said out there. The founding fathers that made this country, they're domestic terrorists. The African Americans that freaking got guns and freaking stood their ground and fought against police officers in the 1960s, those are terrorists too, right? What else? The good old freaking, and I will dare say this, what happened at the good Ruby Ridge, those guys were terrorists because they were white supremacists, right? No, they weren't actually. The family themselves were white supremacists. The family actually lived in the middle of Idaho, in the middle of nowhere, and unfortunately, the Aryan Nation was next to them, so they weren't working, so they were doing bartering with the Aryan Nation. But the media spun it off that they were freaking they were racist, Naziist. Nazi. Oh, I fucking hate the word Nazi. Waco. Oh yeah. But the problem with Waco, because people could throw this in your face about them, is that because they were freaking religious. They were religious fanatics. And he was having sex with everybody's wife. Why would you have multiple wives? I can't even tolerate one woman in my life, let alone multiple. I am horrible at relationships, like the worst. So I'm gonna stay where I'm gonna stay. But anyway, that's just more about me, more about Waco. Yeah, and they killed all those people, and who killed them? The state did. That was a knock warrant. That wasn't a warrant to come in there with freaking guns ablazing with a fucking helicopter and freaking start firing on these people. That was a knock warrant. And you know what? They had permits for those weapons, man. That's the fucking funny thing. But, you know, people, they're going to go off of what they're told from the media because you're eating shit. You're literally eating shit. There's an agenda trying to be pulled, and the agenda is to control us, and the agenda is to split us, to split Americans in half. That we will never, ever, ever, ever freaking rebel against our own government now. That we're too divided. What would happen if America rebelled? What would happen if a rebellion went in place? America had another revolution for 20 years, the most bloodiest ever seen, because that's what's going to take. 20 years, millions upon billions upon billions upon billions of dollars being spent to attack, and then people say, well, you can't beat the U.S. government with, you know, with freaking rifles. I give you the Taliban. I give you the NBA. I give you not the Republican Guard, but the oh god, Al Qaeda in Iraq. You can beat the U.S. government. It's just it takes time. Then that's when you go into the art of war and you go into how do you wage war against this country. But just say it worked out. You overthrew the government. What are you going to replace it with? Socialism? Are you going to let freedom and liberty perish from this country? Are you going to eat the rich? Are you going to put a totalitarian government, a very liberal government? Are you going to put anarchy? Are you going to put a very, 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 very conservative government in place? No, what you need to do is you need to uphold the Constitution. That's what I would do, and freaking make this country really for everybody free, regardless of color, regardless of sex, regardless of anything, and make it actually free and let liberty really fly and let liberty and let citizens be freaking free. That's what this country needs, but it'll never happen because we're so divided. It's people's beliefs. It's people's freaking moral beliefs of what's right and what's wrong. You're about to let a president come into power that's, I will say it, far worse than fucking fat orange man. Far worse. He has a record. If you were actually look at what this man's done in 48 years, it should scare you. But you've been sold shit and you believe in shit. And you go in for Trump. The reason I don't like Trump is Trump had a chance to be a great president and he fucked it up. He fucked it up when he was leaving. He pardoned all his little freaking minions. He didn't pardon people like Assad, like freaking Snowden. That's how you pardon. That's how you make this country fucking great again. You pardon whistleblowers. You pardon people that freaking expose us for what we are. Expose all the murders and everything. That's how you fucking do it. That's how you do it. You don't take care of your own people. It's fucking sad. That's why I don't like Trump. And I will always argue with people about Trump supporters about him. I think it was better than Obama. Shit. I think fucking Reagan was better than Obama. And Reagan, he should have been impeached when he did that Contran scandal. That was the beginning and the end for freaking U.S. presidents and the lawlessness that they have. The greater good. Don't ever believe that greater good bullshit. That was the start of the end of everything. And then Clinton came into power. You forgot Bosnia. You forgot freaking Somalia. You forgot the whole Al Qaeda thing. You forgot the whole fucking starting shit with Osama bin Laden. It was Clinton. That was under Clinton's watch. And then you have the fucking Bush. Oh man, I can go on forever about it, man. So don't give me that bullshit that Biden's going to be, and you know what's going to be funny? It's going to come into power. Kids will still be in cages. What else? The wars will still be going on, or they may be amplified more because Biden's coming into power. Well, at least the bombs are being dropped by, the first black female vice president. Sorry. That's really going to help. So, those kids are going to really be happy knowing that when their countries and their towns are getting bombed and their mom and dad are dying, and, it's really going to matter to them. So it just goes back to just all this. It's sad. It's really sad, the state of this country. This used to be a beacon of freedom and of liberty, and it's not. This is just, America's a fucking joke. And it's because we let ourselves get divided, that we can't have a conversation. We can't talk to people that have different beliefs than us. I have a lot of friends that are liberal, and I have no idea how they're my friends. But, hey, like I said, I would die for them, and they need me to, and I respect their views, but I disagree with them. But, hey, that's life. It's like being an adult. You disagree with people, man. Not everybody's always right, not everybody's always wrong, and I don't want to be right. All I want to do is just live my life. So before I leave, does anyone want to come on and argue with me? If not, I'm going to cut it short because, hey, peace. I'm going to be on for fucking 30 seconds. Somebody send me an invite, somebody, anything. And please be about something cool. Don't just fucking hit me up and just freaking show me the barracks. All right? Anybody at all? All right? Yet again, please, everybody, take care of each other. Believe in this country. Believe that if you freaking do what you need to do, if you take care of yourself and you mind your own fucking business, that things will work out. Mind your own business. Live your life. Take care of your family. Take care of your people, man. Do what's right for you and what's right. And I say, hey, even though I believe in God, what's right by God, do it all. Take care of each other, man, all right? And freaking remember, freedom and liberty is always one generation away from freaking dying in this country. It's up to the baby boomers that fucked this country up beyond belief. It's up to our generation, the millennials now, to freaking stray from what our parents did. Stray from the freaking government, making the government the freaking, I love you, Lim Kwan, making the government the only one entity that controls our lives. Stay away from that bullshit ass thinking and make people responsible for their actions. We need to save this fucking republic because it's not a democracy. It's a fucking republic. All those people in Congress right there, they work for you. You don't work for them. and them being scared and hiding like little fucking sissies when they were storming the Capitol building. Those are the people that send us to die in war. Those are the people that send us to go fucking fight. And they can't even freaking stand up and take responsibility for their bullshit decisions that they're doing and fucking up this country and dividing us. That's what it's about. Hey, peace.